Hello lovely people, and welcome to today's video. I am here to talk about some of my favourite books so far throughout the year for the first part of 2025, as we are quickly approaching the end of the year. So without further ado, I'm not going to take too much of your time because I feel like for most of these books, if I've liked them enough or if I had much to say, I probably did a dedicated video for them. So I'll try and link what I can in the descriptions or in the cards. But yes, without further ado, let's jump into the first book that I'll quickly breeze through, and that is Tender is the Flesh by Augustina Battistizia. This was a whirlwind. It was horror, dystopian, kind of set in a world where, or a time period shall we say, where human meat is processed and widely available for the masses to eat. So there was this virus that kind of wiped out your regular farm meats, and they decided, you know what, we need meat, we can't live without it apparently, let's farm humans and package them as special meat. It is out of this world. It's freaky, it's really thought-provoking, I would say political in the way it talks about the government and human rights, what makes that person farmable in comparison to the person that's then gonna cook them up and eat them. And then of course it has a greater connection to veganism and, you know, the whole conversations on how we treat the farming and the meat industry and whether that's acceptable. It is fantastic. I highly recommend it. I read this back in January, and now as I'm filming this going into November, I'm still finding myself thinking about this. It was really profound and I highly recommend it if you can stomach it. Of course, it does have some of gorier details, being, you know, marginally a horror, I would say. On a much lighter note, another favourite that I've had so far in the first half of the year is Spike's Family Volume 1. This was such a fun foray into the life of the Foragers. We're mainly following Lloyd, who's our kind of main introduction, who's been put on a mission to infiltrate this highly prestigious school to try and take out one of the top dogs who is conspiring against the country. To do that, he needs to have a sham family, the Forgers, and he enlists a young girl that he takes out of the orphanage who just so happens to be telepathic, and then he enlists a wife in Yor who just so happens to be a secret assassin. None of them know that about each other except for Anya, the child, because she can read people's minds. It is so much fun. I think I read the first 3 or 4 volumes and then I just solely went straight to the anime, and honestly I feel like both does itself merits. The anime really captures all the expressions and the excitement and the pacing that the manga had, and the manga itself was just fun to read and flick through and enjoy. So yeah, I just found that where I was borrowing it for the library, I'm not really one to, at this moment in time anyway, request books to come through from other libraries, so I had the 4 volumes there easily accessible, and I always intended to kind of just switch to the anime, so that's what I did and that's what I've been enjoying. So yeah, definitely recommend it. I feel like the story is bonkers. It definitely has a solid storyline though, like there's a progression, a clear plot development, and it's just so much fun, really wacky, really silly, but again it's kind of like secret missions, so there's, you know, there's intrigue and mystery, and it's really fun. Back to a slightly heavier read, another favourite of mine has been Brainworms by Alison Rumfitt. This was my first of her works, and I'm definitely going to have to go back and read, I think it's called Tell Me I'm Worthless. This was psychedelic, it felt. It is trans horror following this really bizarre storyline that I feel like I can't do much service to because it's just wacky and there's so much going on. I don't even know where to begin, so let me just read the back for this one because I feel like it will probably sum it up much better than I can at this moment in time. When a turf bombs Frankie's workplace, she blows up Frankie's life with it. As the media descends like vultures, Frankie tries to cope with the carnage, binge drinking, sleeping with strangers, pushing away her friends. Then she meets Vanya, mysterious, beautiful, terrifying Vanya. The two hit it off immediately, but as their relationship intensifies, so too does Frankie's feeling that Vanya is hiding something from her. When Vanya's secrets threaten to tear them apart, Frankie starts digging and unearths a sinister, depraved conspiracy, the roots of which go deeper than she ever imagined. It talks about political terrorism. The horror is filthy body horror gore, really gets under your skin, and the characters are, or even our main characters, are pretty much deplorable, unlikable. They do awful things to themselves and to each other, but I absolutely ate this up. This was, oh, it had me thinking about it. I swear it delved into my dreams as well, and I just couldn't step away from this story long after I'd closed the final page. It was fantastic. I do feel like I've got a more dedicated review where I'm a little bit more consistent in my thoughts and a little bit more able to string some sentences together, but for now I'm just going to leave you with that. Honestly, if you like horror, if you want to explore more through the eye of a trans main character, then definitely give this a go, because the combination is out of this world, like with the topics discussed and the story itself that unfolds. You never know what you're gonna get. Like, I just kept I have no other words. It just kept giving more when you thought it was done, you know. Another favourite is one that I just can't seem to locate where I've put my copy. Sod's law that as soon as I turn off this camera I'm probably going to see it staring right at me. But this is An Academy for Liars by Alexis Henderson, and this is kind of like a dark academic kind of story, situated in like a university setting. We're following our main character who gets a mysterious invitation to take a set of exams at this very secretive school that nobody really knows about. You just kind of, you either know or you don't know, you know what I mean? Like, you get this invitation, you go there, and if you don't succeed in the initial tests, your memory's wiped and you're sent back into the regular schmegular world, right? Our main character does pass it, and she is opened to a world of the art of persuasion, and it's really kind of like mind manipulation, and that magic is quite dark manipulative magic, right? But with that, she has a bit of a taboo relationship brewing. There is some darker elements to the actual university itself and kind of the bones that it's built on, what's actually behind it, what it's hiding, what's the ultimate goal there of the university. And there's some shadowy, scary beings that kind of lurk beneath the surface as well. A male character, Dante, there was some great tension between our two there. There was this love to hate kind of rivalry. It was just really intense, quite dark, quite yearning in a way as well. And the whole story itself was perfectly packaged, I find. Again, this is my first Alexis Henderson book. I believe they've written The Year of Witching, which I think was their debut, and is one that I've been meaning to get to for a long time. So with that in mind, knowing how much I enjoyed An Academy for Liars, I think I'd probably go back eventually and read The Year of Witching, and probably would enjoy that one too. But this was fantastic. Alright, so my next favourite I'd like to briefly discuss is one that I was on a book tour for, and that was, I believe it was a Hear Our Voices book tour for Trans History, a graphic history, I think, a graphic novel, something like that. Literally, as I said it, Trans History, a graphic novel. This was fantastic. I really loved the way it was depicted, with the illustrations, the layout of the history, the storytelling, meeting these people that are advocates and important people within sharing and keeping this knowledge flowing, you know. You meet a lot of activists that are, particularly young activists that are in the movement for trans rights and has had an impact in some way with getting information out there, helping those in need, that sort of thing. And honestly, I just love the layout. It's in these very soft pastel colours, and it's both appealing to the eye, easy to take in, and full of factual knowledge, which was really informative for me personally. I want to talk about one more book before I dip off of this video here today, and that is Escape from St. Hell, My Trans Teen Life Levels Up by Lewis Hancock. This is the sequel to St. Hell, something St. Hell, I can't remember. Basically, it's a two-part memoir. Who is like a YouTuber and illustrator about his life growing up and realizing he's trans, and kind of how that kind of went down within his very small minded at times, small town like life, how it impacted his family, how it impacted him, how he was questioning his sexuality. For a big stint of his youth, he was presenting as a lesbian female, and then how he realized, hold on a minute, that's not quite right either, and just explored his sexuality and his identity. And this one is more about his life outside of that village now. He's really on his own 2 feet, and he's at university, getting his first job, having his first serious relationship, all of that sort of stuff, while still navigating manhood for him now and being more of an adult within his various struggles and celebrations. And I thought it was another fantastic installment in his memoir. My friends, is all that I'm going to be talking about today. Do let me know if you read any of these books and what your favorite books so far, for the first half at least, of 2025 has been. Hope you're looking forward to the rest of the year. Hope you're reading fantastic books and having fantastic lives, and I shall catch you in another video soon. Bye.